Hey guys, Tony Busby, talking with Tony. Here we are on another Friday. Can you believe how fast these Fridays, they come at us crazy. 281-558-5738, talking with Tony. Now, we had lunch earlier today, and Frank's like, well, you don't let the people talk enough. I said, well, look, guess what? It's talking with Tony. Frank is not talking with Frank. It's not talking with a random person off the street. It's talking with Tony. He says, well, all you want to do is talk about yourself. I said, well, you know what? It's my show. I can do whatever the damn well I please. So if you got a problem, go get your own show. If you got a problem, go talk to yourself in the mirror. I don't care. It's talking with Tony. Now, let me make sure we're clear.
It's talking to Tony.
No, it's talking with Tony.
No, you're talking to Tony.
No, I'm talking about myself.
That's what I mean.
Okay, take it easy. Don't try to interrupt me. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to provide a forum for people that care about the country. Now, let me make sure we're clear because, some people aren't really clear what we're trying to do. Let me make sure we're clear. We are different than every other radio show across the United States. The reason that we are fielding calls for people that want to so-called syndicate us is because they want to control us, and we will not be controlled, Frank.
You got that right.
We will not be controlled. But we will consider all cash offers. But I want to make sure we're clear. If you agree with me, say hey. If you disagree with me, blame it on Frank. And I will also say this. Sometimes Frank is politically incorrect. I have never personally been politically incorrect. But in the rare instance where I might have said something politically incorrect or that hurts your feelings, blame it on Frank, because it's probably something that he told me to say that I told him I did not want to say. Now, we have a vetting. I mean, you know about our interns. Our interns are working around the clock to make sure that everything we say is completely accurate. And they also, there's a side vet. There's a side vet to make sure it doesn't hurt anyone's feelings. But every now and then, something slips through. Something slips through. And if that happens, it was probably because they called Frank before they got to me, because obviously I'm the pinnacle. They got to Frank, and Frank approved it before I ever got to see it, because I'm actually busy doing stuff. Frank sits home doing nothing. And so he may have approved something. Well, you can make your case at some point when you get the mic, but right now I can turn your mic off. So the point is, if something offends you, it's probably because Frank approved it and I never saw it.
People can hear me without a mic.
Well, yeah, anyway, the point is, here we are talking with Tony on a Friday evening. We got Frank Spagnoletti. He looks like an avocado. He's in all green. Can you see this Facebook Live? He's in all green. He looks like an avocado. I love an avocado sandwich. The new thing, the new cool thing to eat now is avocado toast. He looks like avocado toast. Frank, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy.
Well, you look like avocado toast.
Well, I don't know what avocado toast
Well, you
is.
put a little, you slice your avocado very, very thin.
Yeah, I don't
You
do
take
that.
wheat bread or you take some white bread. You put a little salt, pepper on there, maybe a little garlic, and then you chow down.
No, I eat hamburgers and pizza.
Well, we can see that.
Yeah, I know you can, but I'm a happy guy, okay?
Well, no, nobody...
You keep eating your avocado toast, and I'll keep eating my hamburgers and pizza.
Well, anyway, so, Frank, this week, there's been a lot of things that have
I like
happened.
ribs, too.
Yeah, I do, too. There's been a lot of things happen. Let's just go straight to the point. There was a shooting in Wisconsin. Did you watch the video?
Yes.
Okay, tell me your thoughts. It's hard to go out on a limb like this, but tell me your thoughts. Because I'm putting you on the spot.
My thoughts?
Yeah.
My thoughts are that this is a terrible thing, of course, when somebody gets shot, but it was totally expected to happen when you don't respect authority, when you don't respect the police authority, when you allow people to not peaceful protest is part of the American fabric. I mean, it's part of our Constitution. It's part of all of our history. but rioting, destruction of property, and injury
Don't
to people.
sidestep the issue, Frank. I'm asking
just
about the
telling you.
young man from Illinois that took a weapon.
Well,
He was
I'm gonna get you.
17 years old.
That's
Go,
fine.
go.
Okay, but he was what they're calling a vigilante. He had met with the police. He had asked to be deputized. He's a 17-year-old kid. He had a gun. Nobody took the gun away from him. Why? Because nobody was protecting the property. It was complete lawlessness. What would you expect to happen on your street if people were marching around trying to tear down your fence and throwing Molotov cocktails at your property? What would you do? What would your 17? Do you have a 17-year-old son?
I have a 17-year-old son.
Okay, what do you think he would do? I think he'd go to your gun cabinet and get a gun and try to protect the property on the street.
Okay.
I'm not saying the kid's justified in killing the guy, but this was created by the disrespect for the order and rule of law that we have in this country, and it's been encouraged by these anarchists, nihilists, and
But let's explore it. I mean,
Antifa budding cadets.
No, you want to take it in a bigger picture, but I want to focus on this young man.
I always like to take it in
I
a
know,
bigger
and
picture.
it makes sense. But this young man,
Thank you.
who's now been charged with
wonderful.
murder. This young man was a huge pro-police supporter. He lived in Illinois. His mother drove him to Wisconsin, knowing that there were major protests. That a lot of things were burning down. This young man took it upon himself, and he's been called a hero by many people, and he's been called a murderer by many people, and it's amazing. It's almost like one of the those I'm a psychology guy, an ink blot test, right? And so some people watch what he did, and they see this is a murderer, a right-wing murderer, and other people watch what he did and said this is a guy defending freedom. So this young man. His mother drives him from Illinois to Wisconsin because there was major protests and burning and destruction going on. And he goes to a car dealership, and he has, I think, and I may be wrong, Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, an AR-15. He had it strapped all around. He was interviewed long before this all happened. He said, I'm just out here to prevent the destruction of property. I'm out here to help people that might get injured. That's what he said. And then we have almost all of it on video. Almost all of it. There was some guy that was like trying to provoke. He was using the N-word. He was trying to provoke these guys that had weapons. And then we see a shooting, but we don't see how it happened. And then we see this young man running and people trying to attack him. And he falls down and he's shooting as they're trying to hit him. Frank, what do you make of all this?
You can view him as a villain. You can view him as a hero. And what I view him as is a victim of these idiots who run these cities, who don't impose the rule of law and order in their cities and allow for peaceful protest. Do you know, Tony, most of the time peaceful protests take place, you normally would have to get a permit to have a protest, okay? But in this country, sometimes you can have them without a permit. But the point is, you don't allow them to go crazy like this. Look at this town.
It bothers me so much, and I hear what you're saying, but I'm destroyed when I see that this kid and his parents, his mother, thought he was doing something great, and now he's
a victim.
He's accused of first-degree murder.
He's a victim as much as anybody else of the lack of rule of law.
There was no rule of law. There's no doubt about that.
That's my point. But he's a victim of the absolute leaderless aspects of these cities.
What bothers me is that it's such, and we were talking about this earlier, is like there's no in between. You either see him as some sort of crazy vigilante murderer, or you see him as a guy that in his best way he can defending property and life and freedom. And my point is, why are we at this point in time?
Because it was created in order to allow everybody to huddle down, be afraid, and make claims that this is all Donald Trump's fault, and therefore you got to vote for somebody else. But you know what? I got to tell you this though. I mean, and this bothered me this week too, because I didn't grow up in a time when Republicans and Democrats were so polarized.
They're
okay?
They've always been polarized.
Yeah, but they were civil to each other on a level just like plaintiff lawyer and defense lawyer can fight like dogs in court, but could go out afterwards and have a drink and talk about the case, okay?
Yeah.
You know what it's like.
Yeah.
You grew
Well,
up.
I never went out with any defense lawyer
Yeah, that's not
who
true.
I was taking money from.
Well, I know, right.
And I won't do it now.
Well, because now you make them shine your shoes. But
all right, we're going to come back, and you got a great point. Frank, I'm going to hand you the mic when we come back. 281-558-5738, Talking with Tony. I'm sorry we went so deep so quick. We will be back Talking with Tony. So, guys,
United we
I
stand.
watched this kid, and clearly the kid, in his mind, had great intentions. I mean, I even saw him wearing like a police uniform and, Blue Lives Matter and all that stuff. My question is, why does his mother put him out there like that? At a 17-year-old. Look, I don't even when I was a Marine, I was very careful about putting my privates in any position where they had a decision to make any call about doing anything. I mean, they're kids. I mean, no offense to every private in the Marine Corps and the Air Force and every other service, but that kind of chaos that existed after all the crap that had happened, that kid should not have been out there.
I agree with that.
He should. Now, I will say this. I don't know about the first shot that killed that man. I forget his name. Rosenblatt, I think his name was, who was, antagonizing all those
So
people.
he was trying to hit the kid with a skateboard.
Throwing things and all that. I don't know. I'm not making a judgment. But I will say, that kid, when I saw him running down the street and people were trying to attack him and trying to tackle him, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know how to think about it. I just don't like it. I don't like it.
Well,
I don't like it.
I know what to think. I know what to think. This is the kind of country we're going to have when we don't have any leaders. This is what.
Oh, there's no leadership for sure. There's no leadership in that area of Wisconsin. There's no Portland. There's no leadership. Seattle. There's no leadership. I don't think there's any leadership in Los Angeles, San Francisco. The leadership has evacuated the building.
New York. What we're talking about is without leadership, that's the whole reason you have government. It is in order to allow people to have a peaceful society in which they can live, in which they can survive, in which they can have economic success, in which they can protest. Okay?
I don't care if people protest. I'm fine with it.
Peacefully.
Peacefully.
That's the point. But the leaders have abdicated. The leaders have abdicated their positions of basically imposing peaceful society and have gone for anarchy. And this is the tip of the iceberg.
All right. We're back. Frank is pontificating on Facebook Live. Thank you for tuning in to Facebook Live. Please tune in on Facebook Live. Tune in on either Tony Busby's Facebook Live or Talking with Tony Facebook Live or Uninvited Facebook Live. Obviously, we're on 700 AM. We're also on ksevradio.com. We're going to give away. I talked to Duke from dukesbutchershop.com. They are the exclusive sponsor of tonight's radio program, and we're giving away steaks, a lot of steaks, but we're only giving away in the state of Texas. We had a little issue last week because we have people that are listening all over the country. We have one of our winners that was in Kansas, if you can believe it, and we did not know if we could get the steaks to our winner in Kansas that were still in good shape. And Duke's Butcher Shop is very particular. They do not want to send steaks that are not absolutely perfect. Now, we were talking before the break. Remember, the phone line, and we already have a bunch of callers, 281-558-5738. We were talking about the shooting in Wisconsin with this young man who was from Illinois. He wanted to be a police officer. He was one of these Blue Lives Matter young men, 17 years old. He brought I think it was an AR-15 to Wisconsin in response to the police shooting that happened there. And we can go back and forth about the police shooting and this and that, and whether the Jacob Blake, I think his name was, did or did not have a knife, although I think he clearly did, but whether that does not mean that the shooting was justified. I don't know. Okay, I'm not gonna be on the radio and tell you it was justified or it was not justified. But I'm gonna tell you something. The rioting that we've seen is not justified. Burning down buildings is not justified. Destroying cars that your tax dollars are going to turn around and pay for the replacement of is not justified. And it was interesting to me that I saw Cuomo, the guy on CNN, and the other popular person on CNN, Frank. And this, I'm gonna have you chime in here. They were talking and they were looking at multiple polling and focus groups, and they said, "Oh my goodness, a lot of people, Democrats,
Don
Lemon, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, they're fed up with this destruction of property that has no relation to the issues that are being discussed. They have no relation. There's no relation to burning down an African American's business that she has had for 40-something years and social justice. I mean, that is the opposite of social justice. And in what CNN had figured out, and Don Lemon and Mr. Cuomo, who's I guess the brother of
his name's Fredo.
Okay, I'm not going to make a cast aspersion. I'm just telling you.
That's not aspersion.
Whatever it is. My point is, they were talking like, oh, it's in the polling. It's in. Everybody is mentioning it is hurting the Democrats because the Democrats have been very particular about supporting all the so-called protests, including the vice president candidate Kamala Harris, and it's starting to kill the Democrats.
That's BS.
And well, I'm just telling you what they said. And they said, "Oh, we got to do something now about the rioting because it's hurting the Democrats." And what I think is terrible is I don't give a rat's ass what the polling shows. It was terrible when it was popular, and it was terrible when it wasn't popular. There is no reason to burn down somebody's business because of something that has nothing to do with the person that owns the business. There's no reason for it. And it has always been terrible. And now all of a sudden CNN has figured out that it's not going to help Biden get reelected.
Yeah,
Frank, say what you say.
There's a reason for it, so that somebody can get a new Louis Vuitton purse, or they can get a.
No, I'm not going to go that way.
Yes, they break
Frank.
it.
I'm not going to go that way.
I don't care where you go. They can get a new Louis Vuitton purse. They can go get a Gucci purse. They can get a pair of Nike sneakers. They can go get whatever they want when they bust into the building. It has nothing to do, like you say, with the actual issues.
I knew it had nothing to do with
it. But I
issues.
take exception with you with trying to cover Kamala Harris's trap.
They get really pissed off when you do not pronounce her name right.
That's fine.
Just like I call you Frink.
I've had a million.
I'm going to call you Frink from now on.
I've had a million people.
Pronounce her name right. Frink.
Oh, okay, pronounce my last name right.
Spagnoletti. I've always done it.
That's not right.
Okay, what is it?
Well, it's Spagnoletti.
Okay, well, how the hell am I supposed to know that?
Well, I'm sorry. Well, how am I supposed to know this is Kamala?
All right, just make your point.
My point
You're making me madder than a hornet's nest.
I don't care.
Okay, well, I'm coming over there.
I don't care about
There's
that.
There's lots of people who want to whip you right now.
Let them whip me. I've been whipped before.
Okay, go ahead.
Look, Kamala Harris, okay?
Kamala. Yeah. Kamala.
Whatever the hell it is, I'm telling you this. She was on late night, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
And she says the riots are not going to stop ever. And beware.
They are going to stop.
Wait, with a smile on her face, and she says they will continue because this is a movement. You know what? There ain't no movement that justifies riots. If that's the kind of country we're going to have, it ain't going to be in a country that I'm going to support.
No, I'm not supporting that either.
And that's
the one thing we can agree on.
But that's my point to you, buddy. We cannot. I've been saying.
First off, I'm not your buddy, but go ahead.
I've been saying this for a long time that we can't back
Take
up.
that camera off him and put it on me most of the time.
We can't. We can't back up. Put it on me when I'm talking.
No. Put it on me when I'm. So you can see my reaction to the way he talks. Go ahead.
I'm just telling you, we can't back up. We need to have the imposition of a society. We need to have laws. We need to have legal.
How about follow the laws?
How about following the laws? How about legal immigration rules? How about all the issues that we're talking about? And I know, and you know, the Hispanic community in Texas is very much in favor, on the whole, about the things that the Democrats have spoken against. And they didn't do that when I was a Democrat and when I was like, supporting that party. I'm an independent now. I don't support either party. But
I've moved away just like you.
They were in favor of religion. They didn't have a problem saying the word God. They didn't try to take God out of the national anthem. They didn't ask for rioting. They basically wanted law and order. They wanted to have their families. They wanted to have economic opportunity to have a job. And most of the African American people that I know are all about the same thing. All about the same thing. Who are these people that want to have riots in the country?
Who are the people? And I appreciate you.
Don't get me going on.
No,
who
you're
they
already
are.
going. Let me say, who are the people that have skateboards and want to hit somebody over the head with them,
and then are upset when they get shot?
And get upset when they get shot. I mean, I'm going to say this, and this may not be the most popular thing to say. I'm going to venture to guess, based on people that I know and based on what I've seen, and I think I pay attention. Most communities that need policing the most are not in favor of defunding the police. If you go ask people that live in Third Ward, if you go ask people that live in Acres Homes, and I'm focused on the city of Houston, if you go ask people in Fifth Ward, hey, are you in favor of defunding the police? They would say no, and why don't we see more police officers here? Now, that's not to say that there are many people around that say sometimes the police officers we see are not receptive to the issues that we have. I get that. I totally understand it. But I have not, based on my review, based on people that I know, based on the fact that I've been all around this city, I have never seen a community that says, defund the police, we don't want them around. And I guarantee you people in Seattle, Portland, that place in Wisconsin and other places that are being burned.
New York City.
Burned to the ground. Burned to the ground. I mean, literally burned to the ground. There's nothing left but rubble. Would tell you, oh, we don't want any police there. We want pure on anarchy. That no one wants that. And I'm going to say anarchy. That's what we've seen on TV.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen enough of it. Because I think if the American people had seen what's really going on in some of these places in the Northwest and in New York and some of these boroughs in New York, and had seen some of the places like we've seen the shooting that we were talking about in Wisconsin and places in Illinois.
Chicago.
And Chicago, and they really saw what was happening, where the police have decided, you know what, they hate us so much, and any interaction we're going to have to try to stop this, we're going to be the bad guy, and we're going to be accused, and we're going to be this. So we're just going to pull out. We're just going to pull out and just let nature take its course. Well, let me tell you, when nature takes its course, let me tell you what happens. Anarchy, destruction, death, and murder. And that's what we're seeing.
The flip side of all that anarchy is vigilantism.
And you have a lot of people who call themselves patriots, and they go into these areas and my God, think about if the police officers are having a hard time controlling themselves and trying to, follow the rules of engagement. Imagine a 17-year-old kid.
Well, Tony, what would you do if in your house?
I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't send anybody there.
No. If they're marching down your street and all of a sudden people climbing over your gates trying to get into your house, and saying things to you like, we're going to kill you, we're going to occupy your house, and you wouldn't take action in order to protect your family?
I would take action. Of
course you would.
Absolutely.
Every human being would. Every human being would.
I know. And so the point is, what I saw in that video.
Protect your wife and kids and animals.
Absolutely. Protect my property, my family, everybody.
Right.
Anyway, we are and there are places, there are cities in this country that are in utter anarchy and chaos. And CNN won't show it. And I don't want to be the guy that says CNN is not fair and CNN has an agenda, but listen. CNN has an agenda. They have an agenda. We're going to come back. I know there's a ton of calls. We have, the phone lines are completely busy. 281-558-5738. We're going to give away 2 boxes of steaks. Frank has a folders and stuff he wants to talk about. We may talk more about this rioting, but we will be back. Thank you for listening. Talking with Tony. Keep that in mind. Tony. Hey guys, listen. This pushes you to one side or the other. It's just terrible. I'm like a middle of the road person, but when people call some dumb kid who's out there should his parents have taken him or his mother have taken him over there to defend property that wasn't? No, probably not. But
that's how strongly people feel about this.
I know how they feel about it, but my point is, I watched what the kid did. I watched it all on video. Only shot I didn't see was the first shot. All the other shots, he was clearly defending himself. I mean, he was being beaten down. They were trying to kill him. They were trying to hurt him.
This is what you have when you don't have a respect for the rule of law. Why do you think the man got shot to begin with?
It's terrible.
Why do you think the man got shot to begin with, my friend? The man, what was his name?
Oh, you mean that led to the riots?
Yes.
Jacob.
Okay, Brandon was it?
Brandon was his name? Yeah.
I don't remember his first name, but the point is, he got shot. He had an arrest warrant out for him for a sexual charge.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No, but that's what they say. And I don't have the record, but that's what I've heard on the news. And so he's out there. The police come. He's at a place he's not supposed to be. A woman had called and said, "This guy's over here. He's got the keys to my car. Guy's got a charge on him. He has a history of these things, of disturbances with the police." And if we didn't encourage the disrespect for the rule of law, instead of walking away from the police when they said, "Stop, we're going to take you in," he just turned around and walked away and was reaching inside his car. They don't know what he's reaching for. I mean, but maybe
it just continues to.
That's my point. But if you had a society that had a respect for the rule of law, they wouldn't do that. Like for many years, because I lived in London, England. For many years, the cops over there didn't carry any weapons. Why? Because
they didn't need to, because they respected the law.
That's my point, buddy. You answered the question. And my point is, once the society, there's 1,000 police officers. There's hundreds of thousands or millions of people in the city. Okay? And if those people don't have respect for those police officers, they can overrun them even with their weapons. The point is, once you break that line, you've created a totally anarchistic society.
It's broken.
Well, it's going to be put back. But we can.
There's a lot of places all across the country. Clearly, it's broken.
It needs to be fixed.
I don't know how you fix it.
You go out and vote and get those stupid idiots that are running those cities and don't take care of providing the rule of law to people. That you get them out of office. You got to get them out of office, and I don't care what your party is. That has nothing to do with party. I am sick of talking about party.
We may have lost it, Frank.
Well, we may have, for the police, as much as I back the police, we may have lost it because of the divisiveness of this country. Well, if we've lost that, then we've lost the country.
Agreed, because it's the same thing with the military.
Exactly.
We may have lost it. And there are places in the country where we've clearly lost it.
Look at how the military controls areas with few people only because people
if you have people that go up to the police and just like flip them off and spit at them and all this stuff, that never did anything to them, and that's the way they feel, and there's a large contingent of this, we may have lost
Throwing Molotov cocktails, shooting.
Friday afternoon, talking with Tony. If you're on Facebook, either Uninvited on Facebook or Tony Busby. Also call in 281-558-5738. I understand that all the phone lines are busy. We're going to take a few calls. We've been talking about what happened in Wisconsin. We've been talking about the rioting. Things are terrible, and one of the things that Frank and I we may have settled in on is that if we become a country where there are many different areas of the country that have absolutely no respect whatever for the rule of law, where the police department or the fire department or the mayor or whatnot is not considered any respect for authority, then we may have lost those areas.
What happens in a classroom in the school when you don't have respect for the teacher? You have anarchy, and
It's anarchy.
and there's
That's
no
where we are.
learning. And what happens in a city when you arrest people and then turn around and let them out with no bail?
It's a joke.
No bail.
That's where we are in Houston right now.
I understand that, and I got things to talk about. They're about to change things in Virginia.
Let's take a call. Let's talk. Harry on line 3, talking about the Wisconsin shootings. A little bit what we've been talking about. Harry, what's up?
Well, Tony, first of all, I think Frank is completely right.
Well, okay, Harry, the worst thing you could ever start off with on this call is to say Frank is right, because the first thing you should say is, Tony, you're right, and Frank's okay.
Well,
but go ahead,
Frank's
Harry.
okay.
Go ahead. Okay.
Okay. Listen, he is a victim.
Frank's the victim?
No.
I'm
the
a victim
young
of
man is
Tony.
not
I'm
the
a
Frank's
victim
I'm
of
a
him.
victim of Frank. Go ahead.
Well, the district attorney in Portland had 500 people arrested for rioting, every crime you can think of except murder, and he would not prosecute any of those 500. And it's all over the internet that George Soros is masterminding all this. Kamala Harris was picked by him. The district attorney in Houston, Portland, San Diego were all part of George Soros and Bill Gates' plan. And I can't understand why they're doing all this. But
So
they
what's
do
the-
wanna-
what-
Why they're doing it?
What's the end
I can
game?
answer
What's
that.
the end
Hold
game?
on, let me answer
Harry,
Harry.
thanks for the call.
Harry,
Thanks for the call.
Harry, I'll answer you.
No, I want to hear what the answer is.
Why
Thanks
they
for the call,
why
Harry.
they're doing it? You want to know why they're doing it?
I'd like to hear it.
Because when you want to take over a country, if you really know what you're doing, you couldn't attack it from the top. You got to attack it in the grassroots, which is the very reason why our schools, our children were being indoctrinated into fake history. The very reason why. And then you get up into the civil law areas and you excuse me.
I think George Soros just poisoned him.
Yeah. Well, I know it wasn't Putin. Anyway, so the point is, what I'm trying to say to you is they get in on the grassroots. And what better way to start to control a society than to control its law, and then use the law in terms of who you're going to prosecute and who you're not going to prosecute. And that is the way you break down a society. It's almost a classic anarchist Marxist cookbook.
Frank, thank you for your input. 281-558-5738. We need to talk to Manuel from Katy, line 1. Manuel, what's up?
Hello?
Go ahead. You're on the radio talking with Tony,
Yeah.
and Frank is here too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. How do you call it? So recently, I kind of found this interesting. From last Wednesday, Texas Democrats were able to successfully sue to kick off all Green Party candidates off the November ballot, except obviously the main presidential candidate. I was wondering, what do you guys think about that? Like, trying to, the Democrats and sometimes with the Republicans trying to suppress the vote overall.
Thank you, Manuel. I would say, thanks for the call. I would say that, I've always been one that is a proponent of everybody being on the ballot. Obviously, we know that the Democrats are trying to keep any Green Party candidates off because they think it siphons off their vote. So I wouldn't be for it. I'm not surprised by it. It happens every election cycle. Am I right, Frank? It happens every election cycle.
Well, that's true, but let me say this, okay? Let me just say this. This is not part of no plan either, Manuel. This is part because there's a senator who's been up there for a long time in Connecticut, and he basically says the following. The Democratic senator, he's Connecticut senator, warns democracy is unnatural and may not be permanent. And what does that mean? What is that? This is a senator of the United States of America making this statement.
It's crazy.
And let me say, well, this is where we are, Tony. I've been saying this since the beginning of the show.
Why are you pointing at me? I'm on your side.
No, now you are. You weren't a couple of weeks ago.
Hey, I fought you last week.
You what?
Go ahead.
The point is, this Democratic senator says this, and this is all part of the same thing we're talking about. And one of the things I would like to talk about tonight, if Mr. Tony will let me.
Because why?
Because it's Talking with Tony.
Thank you. Now everything's in line. Go ahead.
I'll say what I got to say so I can say. Okay? I
Go ahead, dang it.
So the point is, one of the things I'd like to talk about tonight is what's going on with the election balloting, and what's going on with the voting, and what's going on with mail-in voting, and what's going on with all that, and what is the reason for all that, and what it results in.
I actually am interested in because I've seen all these conservatives are so terrified of mail-in balloting. What is the deal?
Okay, then let's get into it. But please keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that there's a Democratic senator. He's been there for a long time. In fact,
I just gave you the mic to talk about mail-in balloting.
It's
You're going
Senator
off on
Chris
else.
Murphy, Democratic, Connecticut. So if you can mail in a ballot in Connecticut, you need to vote him out, even though you live in Texas, because apparently that's the way we're going these days.
So why are you conservative so terrified?
I'm not
of
conservative. I'm an independent.
whatever you are.
Well, I'm still looking for who I am.
Okay, why are you so terrified of mail-in balloting?
Here's the problem, okay? I've got no problem with absentee voting. I've got no problem.
Well, absentee voting is mail-in balloting.
Right, but you have to actually identify yourself, give your address, and then it's all tracked.
Yeah.
Okay? Mail-in balloting, where you just send it to all kinds of addresses. You don't know where your voting rolls are. I mean, we'd be worse than
Wait, you're being very general. You're a very precise person. What are you saying that you're worried about exactly?
voter fraud, baby.
Well, I know that, but what is the mail-in balloting process? What is it you're so concerned about?
You mail out votes to everybody in this state.
You're saying that you
I don't live where I used to live. My dad's dead, but they'll mail him a ballot because he's still I still get his voting registration.
He still has to mail
card.
it back.
No, you can mail it back, or anybody can fill it out and mail it back, my friend. There should be. I don't understand when I go into a liquor store like Specs. Okay, that's where I go.
I'm sure you never go to Specs.
Yes, I go to Specs. Okay, I'm a sinner. I go to Specs, but I have a future. Like I say, every saint has a past. Every sinner has a future. The point is, what I'm telling you is, I go to Specs. I have to push a button saying what age I am, and of course I'm so old they don't ask me for an ID. But if I looked as young as you, Tony, you probably get carded.
42.
And so the
42.
What I'm trying to say is, the most sacrosanct thing we're doing in the country, electing the person who's going to run not only the country, but the world, the free world, and actually the whole world. And we are not taking very precise steps to know who the heck is voting. This is absolutely absurd.
Wait a minute.
We should show voter ID. What? That doesn't.
Okay.
That's not a prejudice against any minority. It's no prejudice at all. Everybody I know. I don't care whether you're a Latino.
I don't have an ID.
Yeah, you do.
I do not.
You have a driver's license?
No, I don't.
Okay, you have a. Well, then you drive a lot of cars illegally.
I don't drive.
You got me driving you. You got a passport, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's an ID. Everybody has an ID, and they can get IDs. In fact, every illegal immigrant that comes to the country goes and gets themselves an ID. So they're not so foolproof. But there has to be some way of allowing people who work so hard to become citizens of the United States. That, like at the Republican.
What is it you're worried about?
I'm worried about a fake election, which is exactly what we're going to have. And you know what's going to happen the worst? This is what's going to happen, Tony. And I'm telling you.
I want you to walk me through it. How is it going to be fake?
I'm telling you how
Walk me
why I'm
through
sitting
it.
here. You're going to have a bunch of this.
No, I want you to be specific.
I'm going to be specific.
Very specific.
Okay, you're going to have a bunch.
Take it one person at a time. Okay, somebody sends.
Jesus.
You're being so general. Why don't you break it down for people to understand?
The people understand. You just don't understand.
No, I want to be able to articulate it to what you're so damn
Okay,
worried about.
okay.
You're so
But you-
worried. You're clearly out of control over there.
You don't take it one vote
Take it
at
easy.
a time.
Okay, I want it one vote at a time. I want to hear what you're worried
one
about.
vote at a time. They mail a.
Who is they?
The government mails.
What government?
The city government.
They
mails
mail what?
A ballot to my house.
A ballot application.
No, a ballot.
No, that you have to make application before you send a ballot.
No,
that's
you
how
don't.
it works.
No,
yes,
it isn't.
Trust me, I've been through it.
Not in California.
We're not in California. I'm talking about Texas.
No, I'm talking about the election as a country, okay?
Go ahead.
Now, Texas we're going to get into because they just stopped it. The Attorney General at Texas is stopping Harris County from doing what California's doing. But let's talk about what I'm afraid
give me
of.
an idea.
Okay? So let's say in these states where they're New York or in California where they're going to send out all these ballots. You got all these ballots floating around. Now, in my particular situation, if you want to break it down just to show it as a specific example, my dad's dead. So they're going to mail a ballot to my house. I guarantee you, I haven't stricken him from any rolls or anything. The ballot shows up. I could fill it out and turn it in. Okay, if I wanted to, double vote for myself and vote for my father.
Would you vote for me twice if you could do that?
Probably not.
We'll be back in a minute.
I want to finish this thought.
We're going to. I'm sorry, Frank. I was messing with you. 281-558-5738. Talking with Tony. I got Frank all juiced up. Frank's all ready to go. 281-558-5738. Please call Talking with Tony. We're going to continue to talk about mail-in ballots and all the fraud that Frank thinks is going to happen.
I'm going to tell you where it's going to lead.
We're going to talk about the Republican convention because a lot of stuff happened this week. We'll be back.
We need to finish this subject.
He is about to, what we used to say, blow a gasket.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I know. I because of my nationality, you think I'm.
No, I didn't say anything about your.
No,
why did you always go right to race?
Because I'm not called a race. It's a nationality.
Call it a race card.
The point is, like the mask says, I'm not yelling. I'm Italian. I'm just talking. Okay.
Anyway.
I'm using my hands. The point is, what I'm saying here is absolutely correct. This is the problem. But where does it lead? And I'm going to tell you in the next segment when we get on the radio.
We got to move on. We got
but you need to hear what I'm going to tell you.
I don't need to hear it.
Yes, the people want to hear it.
I ain't voting.
Well, yes, you are.
I won't vote. I'm not voting.
Well, then give me your mail-in ballot.
I'll give you my mail-in ballot. You can vote. Let me guess who you vote for.
I don't know. I could vote for that Prime Minister from Australia, but she's not a citizen.
Yeah, I know you like her so much.
Yeah, well, it's only because she said what I believe, and we read it on the radio.
You probably went and talked to her.
Went and talked to her, and I've never been to Australia because I won't go there because your brother's there because he doesn't. He's
trying to Australia. My brother's watching. He will whoop your ass.
I don't give a damn.
Yeah, you will. You get your ass whipped.
Well, not if I'm on my property.
I've been to Australia many, many times.
But he ain't got to get my ass whipped if I'm on my property.
Those Australians will look at you one time and they'll whoop your ass.
Yeah, but he's not Australian.
My brother's almost Australian. He's been there forever.
Oh, he's almost Australian. He's an expatriate. What's he doing hiding out down there?
He's not hiding out.
He's a former patriot.
Oh, he's a patriot.
No, not if he's living on Australia.
He doesn't like you.
Well, then he's not a patriot.
He wants to whip your ass.
I don't care.
Oh, you care. I already found 2 people today that wanted to whip your ass. Who was the other one today?
I don't know.
Oh, Clawwater wanted to whip your ass.
I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah, he wanted to whip your ass today. That's the second person in today that wanted to whip your ass.
Well, I pulled a knife on that guy.
Yeah, I know you did, but you better put that knife away.
That was years ago.
Yeah. Don't be militant. Just accept the ass whipping that you get.
No, I don't accept any ass whipping. Let me finish my thought here.
Oh my God, we talked about this.
No, but this is important, and what I'm going to tell you.
We talked about this.
No, let me finish. Please let me finish.
We talked about this. All right, we're back. Frank has just been, he's about to blow a gasket. He's been dying over the whole break. If you're watching on Facebook Live, he is dying to finish his thought. Tony, let me finish my thought. And everybody in the room's like, Frank, we get your point.
No, but that's not the point.
See, that's the thing. Go ahead. Now, Frank, let me finish. Remember, we had this agreement that you wouldn't interrupt me because it was talking with, what was it, Frank?
It's Tony talking to himself.
Go ahead. All right, Frank, go ahead.
Here's the deal. Let's get it beyond. I broke down what Tony asked me to break down. I'm going to be very quick. Right. Where it's going is, with all the ballots that they're doing in these states, they'll never be able to count them. They will not be able to count them. The result is there's a very tight schedule with regard to these issues.
What are you worried about? Mail-in ballots?
Yes, because of this reason, Tony. Listen to me. The reason is because there's a Presidential Succession Act, and if they don't have the ballots all counted properly by like January 6th so that they know, here, November 3rd is Election Day, right?
Yeah.
December 8th, there's resolving of any election disputes that have to be done by December 8th.
There's also Supreme Court litigation.
Hold on.
We went through this, remember?
Yes, I do, but it was all resolved before the dates I'm going to give you. December 14th, electors cast their ballots, okay? Mm-hmm. December 23rd, the President of the Senate receives electors' ballots. On January 3rd, the House elects the Speaker. Got it? This is important. Keep that in mind, okay, by January 3rd. By January 6th, there's a joint session of Congress which counts the electoral votes, right? And then by January 20th, the new president is inaugurated. They haven't been able to conclude these elections in New York and other places for many, many months because of this mail-in balloting and the judicial challenges and all the rest. The result is, if they don't do it and meet these dates, I'll get to the bottom line. You got the Congress then is free to choose the president.
And your belief is that if the delay happens like that, they choose Biden?
No.
What?
Automatically what happens is they haven't resolved that. It isn't that Biden gets chosen. Automatically the Speaker of the House becomes president. And in this particular, that would be Nancy Pelosi if her ballots in California were counted by that date because they have mail-in ballots all over there. But she might not even be chosen because they might not have resolved that. In which case, we won't have a president chosen by then.
Chaos.
Utter chaos, utter anarchy, utter destruction of the United States of America caused by the fact to impose rule of law, rule of just common freaking sense in terms of voting, okay? Common freaking sense. And I'm not against people voting from their houses, but there should be a process which I can't understand it. I mean, honestly, I'm the most disorganized guy.
I'm
the most disorganized guy in the world, but I could put together a system where people would have to be able to prove who they are in order to get a ballot.
Let me take Dawn, line 2 from Kingwood. Dawn, what's up?
This is important. It's a presidential election act.
I agree with
Keep it in mind, folks. That's where we're going.
Dawn,
That's why we're doing this.
What you got? Hey, Dawn.
Dawn not there.
Line 2. Dawn, are you there?
Lost her.
We lost Dawn. Let's talk to Kelly, line 3.
Hey, Tony.
Hi. Don't.
Hey, Tony.
If you say one thing nice about Frank, I quit.
Oh, no, you won't. I love you. I love Frank, and my daddy, Judge Max, says hi.
How you doing? What you
Good.
got to say? You want to talk about the RNC 2020?
Yeah.
All right, what you got?
I want to know, I don't know if anybody watched the DNC. I didn't, but I watched the RNC, and I thought it was great. And I just want to know, do y'all think it helped? How do you think Melania did? Just what is your overall thoughts about the RNC?
I should have called you and told you, help me with a segue. Thank you, Kelly. Thanks for the call. All right, I will say this, and Frank was laughing at me at lunch because last week, remember that Frank laughed at me because I cried.
You cried during Biden's speech.
I cried, but I will say this. I watched Melania. I didn't get a chance to see President Trump's speech or some of the other speeches that were that a lot of people lauded.
Why'd you watch Biden's speech and not Trump's speech?
I watched Melania's speech. Would you leave me alone for a minute and let me finish my speech? I mean, my spiel before you just interrupt me so rudely. I mean, it is talking with Tony, as I recall it. But anyway, whatever it is, I can turn your mic off.
You just interrupted yourself.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, I watched Melania's speech. Francis and I watched Melania's speech. And I got to say, I cried. Her speech was really, really good. I got to give her street cred. That was a really great speech. And I will say this. What I've heard, and again, this is just based on Facebook, internets, people that I know, and again, we're all in a lockdown from COVID. But I think the general consensus is the Democratic convention did not advance the Democratic cause, but the Republican convention absolutely advanced the Republican and Trump cause. I think that and again, I didn't see the Trump speech. I heard that the Spence speech was very, very good. I heard that there were a lot of great speakers. But I did see Melania's speech, and I will say that I've never been a huge fan of Melania, but I saw her speech, and I was like, she convinced me. And again, you're talking about an independent here. I watched it, and I think the Republican Party, and I think the polling shows, they did themselves a lot of favors out of the convention. That's my opinion.
You want me to say something?
Yeah, but I already know what you're going to say. But go
No,
ahead.
you don't know what I'm going to say.
All right, go ahead.
I think Melania did a very, very, very good job, okay? I really do. I think Ivanka did a very good job. And if you ask me to grade Donald Trump's speech, what would I grade it, Tony?
It was a 71-minute speech.
No, just tell me what I graded.
I bet you would give it a B+.
That's exactly right, because what happened with
How about that?
what
Pretty good, huh?
what happened with well, you didn't even listen to the speech, but the reason he gets a B+ from me instead of an A++, which I usually give him, is because they had him on a teleprompter, and you got to let Trump be Trump. And he was trying to be presidential to reach the moderates, and I get why they did it. But the problem is when you let those people in Washington hem in a wild dog like Trump, you take away his juice. It's like putting a choke collar with spikes on my Rottweiler, okay? You want that dog to be that dog, okay? And you want Trump to be Trump. And he may not be the nicest dog around, but it's going to be the dog that's going to protect you when the shit hits the fan, okay? Now, let me just tell you this. One other thing here. With regard to crying, I got tears in my eyes during the Republican convention. And it wasn't about Melania, and it wasn't about Donald Trump, and it wasn't about Pence, and it wasn't about Grinnell, and it wasn't about any of the people that were politicians, okay? What it was about were the people who went up there, who was the lobsterman up in Maine, who was the woman in Wisconsin who had a little, like, steel lock company that was being beat down by the Chinese. It was, and you know, I couldn't tell her sexual orientation, but it didn't matter to me. She owned that company, and she wanted to compete, and she's a wonderful woman. And the woman who got freed from prison after 20-something years that Trump freed. These are the people that I got tears in my eyes for. These are real people.
What about the young man that stood up at the end?
The young man who stood up that was in a wheelchair, who showed that he was going to stand for the flag. These are the people. These are the real people. This is what the country's made of, not these idiots and that all on both parties who pose at the position. They serve the people. Those people that they brought to that convention are the people. The lobstermen, the lumbermen. There was a lumberman from Minnesota. There was a guy from Minnesota who said the iron ore range was now open again, and he was doing business because Trump allowed him to deregulate and compete. All of these individual people, those are the people. Those are the voices that voted for Trump the first time. Those are the voices that I am so disappointed that the Democratic Party abandoned, because when I was growing up, they were the party of the people, and
they were Democrats,
and they were the party of the people were the Democrats, because the Republicans were sitting around their country clubs eating avocado toast.
My father.
Okay.
Listen.
Now it's they call themselves Republicans.
My granddaddy,
the Freedom Party.
My grandfather was a big FDR guy. My grandfather, the biggest falling out that my dad had with my grandfather was in 72? My dad voted for Nixon.
Law and order, buddy.
Yeah. And my grandfather said, I can't believe you'd ever vote for a Republican. My, how things have changed. We'll be back. 281-558-5738. Talking with Tony. We got a lot of calls. We're going to come back and talk a little bit more about the Republican convention and the bump that the Republicans clearly got from the conventions. From the convention, they clearly did a good job. People are listening. People are watching. I'm not taking a side. We'll be back. Not taking a side.
Of course you're not.
You're the Freedom Party.
But I will say this.
Hey, I got a new name for Tony. Put that camera over here. It's not going to be talking with Tony. It's Tony talking to himself, talking to Switzerland. Because Tony's not taking a side. He wants to be the neutral state of Switzerland.
For real?
Was I neutral in 1990 when I joined the Marines?
No, but you needed a job.
I didn't need that job. I had plenty of jobs. Was I neutral when I put a 90-pound pack on my back and walked through the streets of Somalia? I wasn't neutral.
Well, you're neutral
Watch
now.
yourself, pal. Watch yourself.
You're neutral now.
Watch yourself.
Take a stand.
I'm taking a stand.
Who are you voting for?
My stand is be quiet.
Who are you voting for in this election?
My stand is be quiet.
Come on, baby.
That's my stand.
Yes,
be quiet.
Tell us who you're voting for.
Vote ready. Time to vote.
Yeah, you want to wear my hat?
No. you probably have lice. No.
That's all right. You've had them before.
Yeah, probably so.
No,
Frank is wrong. That's definitely taking that call.
Frank is wrong about what?
This guy says Frank is wrong. Any call that says Frank is wrong, I'm taking it.
What am I wrong about?
Well, we'll see. We'll hear what he has to say.
Oh, of course you're going to take that call.
Of course I'm going to take a call. Every other call, let him hang up. And
I'll be glad to talk to him. Maybe he and I can get together.
Oh, I'm sure y'all will. Y'all going to have a drink at Turner's.
Well, I don't know.
Have you heard of Turner's? Oh, you know, we're going to give away steaks.
Yeah, give away steaks. Don't talk about that.
DukeButcherShop.com, one of the most amazing places that you can get online and order all kinds of steaks. You can order fish. You can order crustaceans. You can order chicken, salmon, fish, whatever you want. Duke's Butcher Shop, Duke'sButcherShop.com. We're going to give away a box of steaks. I might consider doing it on Facebook Live, but I'm probably going to do it. You have to call in 281-558-5738. You can't be out of state. We had a little issue last week because somebody called in from Kansas and they won. And I don't think we can get you the steaks there without them going bad. We've obviously put ice packs in there, but that's too far. So if you're out of state, forget about it. But Duke'sButcherShop.com, we're giving away some really amazing steaks. Sirloins.
If you're out of state and you're right thinking, we invite you to come to Houston.
Frank, what is your favorite steak? You like a porterhouse?
I like a T-bone or a porterhouse or a New York strip. I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't do ribeyes because I really don't. I don't like a lot of fat in my meat.
Yeah, I prefer the T-bone or the porterhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Porterhouse is just a larger T-bone.
Yep.
Prefer it.
So you and I agree on something.
Yeah, well, yeah. For the first time.
I don't know about that. We got more to talk about here.
Yeah, well, you just let me run the agenda.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
one guy running this ship, and it's me. I'm the captain.
I know.
You're the first mate.
No, I'm not. I'm the quartermaster.
No. You're the chief steward. You're the chief steward.
I'm the quartermaster.
No, you're the chief steward. The quartermaster pays the money, and I ain't getting crap.
No. Quartermaster doesn't pay the money.
Yeah, he does.
No, they don't. My grandfather was a quartermaster. You know what they do?
They pay the crew.
No, in the old days, the quartermaster was actually the navigator, and he steered the ship.
Oh, you ain't steering shit either. The captain steers this guy.
Okay, well then we're gonna have to have mutiny. We're gonna have to have mutiny on the bounty.
Yeah, there's gonna be a mutiny on the bounty, and guess who dies?
Well,
you and the white whale die together.
No, we went to the island, Pitcairn Island.
Hey, get my phone off of him. Don't ever put that phone on him.
We're going to Pitcairn Island.
I can't believe that you're putting my phone on him. Never again.
Never say never is what Bond says.
I can't believe Mauricio's putting the phone on you the whole time. I'm the best looking person here. Except for Rala and Daisy.
Frank.
No, I never made my name off.
Why are you putting that on him? Never put that on him.
I never made my name off my looks.
Mauricio, I thought you and I were together.
I made my name off my brain.
Oh, really? That's a problem.
No, I don't think so.
Anyway, we got to give away some steaks.
All right, give away some steaks. We got more
Duke
things to
Butcher
talk about.
Shop.
I don't care about your thing over there. I got my little list. That's all that matters.
Some of this stuff is going to be interesting to you.
Oh, I'm sure it won't. I won't
Something
care.
to do with Texas A&M.
No, I don't want you talking about my school.
Well, I'm going
You
to
never,
hand
even
this to
you
you.
never set foot on that place.
I have not.
Okay,
You
so
never set foot in my school either.
but I'm not talking about your school. That's
Well, of
different.
course you wouldn't talk about
No,
my
of course
school.
I would because nobody talks about it.
Well, they should. It's a College of the Holy Cross.
Okay, nobody's ever heard of it. Sounds like a
Well,
Catholic.
I think they've heard of it.
Sounds Catholic.
It's Catholic, and by the way, I did.
Where is it located?
In Worcester, Massachusetts.
Okay, nobody's heard of that place.
Okay. Well,
Sounds like a steak sauce.
Well, I do use Worcestershire,
Uh-huh.
but I gotta say, I also like what the invocations that were done by the various religious groups at the RNC. I like that nun who spoke
No
with
one
regards
cares
to the
about
right
it.
to life, and she takes care of immigrants that come across the border, and she talked about all kinds of things like that. It was a very, very, very good convention because it touched on
Is that my
on
phone?
values.
And you have my phone on him? That is not going to work.
Touched on values.
Don't ever take that phone off me now.
I don't have Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry.
Exactly. There's a reason you don't.
Yes, there is.
I'm going out to eat after this.
Good.
Where?
I'm going to State of Grace, have myself little oysters.
I'm not gonna take that.
There's no bait there. There's
Yes,
no bait.
there is as well.
Here we go.
All right, here we go. Frank, hey, do never put that on.
You gotta take that call with fella who doesn't
Don't worry,
like
don't
it.
worry about that. It's talking with Tony.
Okay, then don't take it.
Welcome to Talking with Tony, here on AM 700 KSEV. Straight talk from a decorated Marine, successful lawyer, business owner, and philanthropist. Now, here's your host, Tony Busby.
Thought it was funny that intro says the station is not responsible for the content. Well, I'm not either. I put it all on Frank, like I've said before.
Okay, Switzerland.
If I say something that offends you, blame it on Frank. If Frank says something that offends you, blame it on Frank. And I'm very tired of the Facebook camera being put on Frank. I mean, obviously, it should be on me the whole time. But in any event, it is talking with, what is it, Frank?
Talking with Switzerland.
Okay, well, there's a hashtag to get rid of Frank. I think it's called Dump Frank.
Yeah, that's true.
But we do have steaks to give away from dukesbutchershop.com. One of the coolest places. Frank, you've gotten some of the steaks. What say you?
I haven't gotten any.
Oh, you haven't got them yet?
Well, I'm going to get some.
You got some coming your way. In fact, they asked me, what is Frank's?
The difference between me and you, I didn't call into the show.
Yeah.
You called into your own show,
Yeah,
and then you gave them to yourself.
No, they said to me, what is Frank's favorite cut of meat? I was like, I don't know anything about Frank. All I know is he looks like a big avocado. I don't know anything about Frank. But I will say this. We're going to take a call from Tim, line 2. Tim, you're getting ready to win some steaks, but let's hear what you have to say.
I think you're talking to Jim. Is that right?
Well, it says Tim, but Jim. Okay, Jim. Precinct
Okay,
Judge
all right.
Jim.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Jim. All right. First of all, Frank is totally wrong on the succession. There is only a single way the Speaker of the House can ascend to the presidency, and that's through the 25th Amendment in the event of the incapacity or death of both the president and the vice president. That's the only way it can happen.
Nope.
Second of all, the House, in the event that we're unable to get 270 electoral votes, which very well might happen because of this universal ballot counting, each state in the House of Representatives will get one vote to select the president.
That's correct.
That one vote is determined by the delegation. Now, who is the delegation? It's the House of Representatives that are elected by Republicans and the House of Representatives that are elected by Democrats. Those two, as a delegation, are come together and they select one person. Currently, if I'm not mistaken, if you look at how the delegation, each delegation of the states are numbered, I think you will find there's about 38 delegations that are leaning Republican and 22 that lean Democrat.
So what is your point, Jim?
My point is the president will be, if the president goes to the point of where it's being selected by the states, I think it will be a Trump election.
Re-election. Let me ask you something, Jim.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
wait. Let me just add one thing, Jim. I think basically what you said was correct, but we can look into this further because I'll verify and I'll deal with it next week. But as I understand it, if by January 20th there is no successor chosen by the electoral college,
Yeah.
then the Speaker of the House becomes the acting president, okay, not the president. In each state, as you said very correctly, they then have a vote in the Congress. Each state, instead of having how many congressmen there are in each state, they vote as one state, so each state gets a singular vote. Okay.
Has
And-
this happened previously?
yes, Thomas Jefferson.
Yes.
No, I thought it happened when after Abe
No.
Lincoln. I thought it happened.
No, Thomas Jefferson was the only one that was elected in that manner.
But what was the book Profiles in Courage that Kennedy wrote when he talked about that?
Yeah, well,
that
I
election?
didn't believe that guy anyway.
Okay. Anyway, Jim, let me ask you, man. I appreciate the call. This is good stuff, and it makes
So-
it's
so-
good food for thought. But Frank, let me
Thanks.
finish this.
Sorry.
Are you a steak lover?
I am.
Okay, I want you to. Steven is our producer, and I want you to. We appreciate your call. I want you to leave him your address, and we're going to have some Duke's Butcher Shop steaks, some of the best steaks ever, man, delivered to you. Appreciate your call.
And thanks for letting me clarify and bringing up that issue because you're right, except she gets to be acting for a
Yeah.
while until they get it done.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
That doesn't make me happy, Jim.
Yeah, he doesn't like. All right, Frank. I want to ask you. So have you watched the? So we saw the Democratic convention go forward, and now the Republican convention has just finished. Have you watched the polling and what has happened based on the conventions?
Yeah.
And what do you see?
What I see is what I told you today. Okay, you see a tip of the tip of the iceberg because there's a lot of silent voters who are afraid to even enunciate their position, particularly given all the violence and everything else. And it could be that many of these blue states that never even thought about voting for Trump, like places like Minnesota. Places like who haven't gone for a Republican in a very long time.
They haven't in Minnesota.
No, not for years. Because
What do you mean by years, though? Like 4 years, 5 years, 10 years?
No, like 25 years or
okay,
more.
good. Okay.
I don't know the exact number, but a long, long time, Tony. They haven't gone for a Republican. You also got places like New Jersey. New Jersey people are very funny. Okay, they
voted for what's his name, the big boy.
Yeah, they voted for Chris Christie, and they voted for Whitman. That she was a Republican as well. But those were kind of like.
But that's more of like a Trump
they
Republican.
They were Republican light relative. They were institutional Republicans. But the point is, Trump is appealing to their working class roots, the guys that own the workout gym, okay, that have been like oppressed by the New Jersey governor and closed down and arrested and everything else. There are these working guys in New Jersey that work on the docks, work in different places, and many African Americans in New Jersey who work their butts off, and they are not down with what's going on in terms of this lawlessness. And the only person and these are tough people, okay? I mean, these are tough people. And they are not going to stand by and allow themselves to be oppressed by the government shutdown, by the government hide under your desk. They want to have their businesses. They want to do their work. They have towns. These kind of states could be very much outliers in this election, and they could go for Trump.
I saw that Trump's approval rating now is at 52%.
Maybe so.
No, and let me tell you, I'm one of these people that I'm a numbers person. So I just saw that it's,
I thought that was only money. I thought that was only money.
Yeah, I like to make money, but I will say this that
I'm not a numbers person.
No, but I'm just going to say that no president who has been under 50% approval has been reelected. Now Trump is over 50. He's 52 now and looks like growing. Things have swung. I mean, if you talked to me 2 weeks ago, it was like Trump's never going to win, and now all of a sudden it's this is a competitive thing.
Let me say this. I mean, you know how you know that what you're saying is true, Tony? You know when I was.
You mean the fact that I'm saying it?
The fact that you're saying something true?
Yeah.
You know how you know it's true?
How?
You know how you prove, you have to prove your equation and stuff like that. I'm not a math person.
No, I say it, therefore I am. What was that?
No.
What was that famous philosopher?
I know, I'm going to let you twist on that.
No, don't make me twist. Don't make me twist. Go ahead.
You know how you prove that what you're saying is true?
How?
Biden's coming out of his shell, and he's going out to maybe do virtual campaigning in states as opposed to just not doing any interviews and keeping his mask on because he's feeling the heat, baby.
Well,
he's feeling the heat.
Back. We're going to come back. I'm going to ask Frank, locally and nationally, when we come back, what could have been done better with regard to the COVID response. 281-558-5738. Talking with Tony, comma, and Frank in lowercase letters. We'll be back. Frank, don't give it away, but do you have, like, one of the things they said was Trump completely dropped the ball on the COVID response.
No, I totally disagree with that. Who's the guy that, when he shut down the travel from China?
Oh, he got criticized roundly.
At the end of
accused
January.
of a racist, accused of xenophobia.
Sure, and Pelosi was inviting people to Chinatown. De Blasio was doing his De Blasio act and saying nothing was wrong.
De Blasio's the one that came out of this the worst ever.
But he deserves it because he is the worst ever.
Why are you screaming at me?
Because I'm telling you, I mean,
I'm over here, Frank. I'm fine.
I know, but
why are you screaming at me? I'm right here.
Because it's
right here, Frank.
It's
I'm
like
right
a
here.
basic fact that he's the worst ever.
Okay. Dial it down, big boy.
I'm embarrassed that he used that name, De Blasio. That's not even his real name.
What is it?
It's Wilhelm or something.
Oh, he's Jewish.
No, he's not Jewish.
He's German. He's German.
Well, I don't know. German, Hungarian.
De Blasio, that's Italian.
Well, he took that name so he thought he could get elected in New York.
Well, why would you choose an Italian name?
Because there are a lot of immigrants there. There used to be a lot of immigrants there, and it sounds ethnic, okay? So his mother was...
He should have chosen Spagnoletti.
No, that wouldn't have got him very far.
How do you say it? You said I said it wrong.
Spagnoletti.
Spagnoletti.
No, that's not
Spagnoletti.
No, that doesn't work.
What is it? What is it?
You can call me Smith.
No, Smith. Smith.
Yeah. Smith.
Smith. How long can I hold it? Smith. What is it really though?
In English, it's Spagnoletti.
I know. I'm English. Go ahead.
And I go by English.
Okay, what's the Italian one?
Spagnoletti.
Spagnoletti.
No, you gotta take some linguistics.
It makes me think I need to eat some pizza.
No, how about some spaghetti?
Spaghetti. That's what my kids call you spaghetti.
They can call me whatever they want. I don't care. I've been called everything.
Oh, goodness. So terrible.
I've been called a lot of four-letter words too, but we'll keep them off the air.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got something to give to you. What the hell am I doing?
All right, we're back. We're going to take some calls. We're going to give away some more steaks. We gave away some steaks to Jim. We're going to give away some steaks to some of our next callers. We'll figure out who it is. But before we took a break, pardon me, I was asking Frank not only about the COVID response with regard to our president, but also the local COVID response. And Frank is one of these guys that pays attention. He sits in his little lair and he just thinks about things. Do not put that camera on Frank. Anyway, Frank, I want to speak to you first about, and anybody calling, 281-558-5738, about the local COVID response. And then I want to talk to you about the national COVID response. And the reason I asked is because I saw many commentators on CNN and other CNBC and other national, liberal type news agencies saying that Donald Trump had absolutely dropped the ball and that's the reason so many people are dead and blah, blah, blah. Frank, what say you?
It's ridiculous. It was Trump who put the lockdown on international travel from China and at the end of...
And he was accused of being a xenophobe.
Yeah, you can call him a xenophobe. They're basically calling him a racist when they say that, and that's ridiculous. He was the one who shut down travel shortly thereafter from Europe because of all their cases. Look, man.
Why did he not encourage masks?
Because there's no...
Why did he ever wear a mask?
Well, first of all, because nobody gets around him that close that hadn't been tested, okay? And I'm not going to wear a mask just to pretend, like these people who show up on TV and they got their mask on because they're trying to tell us children, that we have to wear a mask. You know what? I wear a mask, and I do wear a mask. If I go into a nursing home or I'm dealing with people who are sick, I wear the mask.
So what do you?
I'm not going to wear a mask when I go outside to take a leak in the morning.
Let's focus on locally. What could have been done better? based on your view. And quit playing up to the Facebook Live crowd.
What could have been done where?
Yeah, locally.
We could have had different leadership here that didn't.
Well, what would the leadership have done?
They were trying to treat us like we were grammar school kids instead of letting
they
us
were
be
asking us to
thinking
wear a
people.
mask. Okay,
No.
what else?
No. Not, the mask thing is a red herring, okay? You know what I'm mean by a red herring? It means nothing.
I know.
There's no scientific proof of anything
Okay,
regarding
what would have been
masks.
done differently, though, is my question.
Nothing. They could have just let
Okay,
us.
so basically the virus just runs its course.
The virus runs its course. We take risks or no risks depending on who we are. If you're an elderly person, even in my age group, and you have certain don't want to take the risk, or you have certain medical conditions, you stay closer to your house. You don't go into public spaces.
So you wouldn't have shut down business?
Me personally?
Yeah.
No, I would not shut down
Okay,
business.
so let me make sure I understand what the alternative is, because people may wonder. Your alternative would have been, and I'm not suggesting I disagree or agree with it, but your alternative
Of course not, Switzerland.
your alternative would have been, look, mask optional, businesses can require a mask if you choose, masks are not mandated, more education about how the disease or the virus is contracted, a lot more education about people who are susceptible that the virus could actually kill, and let's keep the economy going. Did I hit it all right?
Yeah, and you know what? I think the government, including the people that worked on this, Mulvaney and Navarro and Munchin, all of them.
Can we agree there should have been more leadership in that regard?
No, we can't agree on that.
You didn't ever hear anybody saying what I just said. You didn't hear the mayor of Houston. You didn't hear
leadership in the way of setting rules, parameters, and enunciating a rational.
What I just enunciated, a rational response,
a common
to
sense
a virus. To a virus that we know is catchy and is not going to hurt any kids and people that are
a common sense response.
A common sense response that doesn't crush our economy, but also protects the people most vulnerable.
I totally agree.
We never got that though.
No, but
we never got that.
I tell you what, they were common sense people, and there have been new studies out regarding even this hydroxychloroquine. Okay.
Well, that's a treatment for people that have.
I get that, but they were doctors that had common sense responses on that. And they kept.
I think it was. Pardon me, I interrupt you. I think it was absolute stupid that we were arguing about whether a mask does or does not help, instead of articulating this is our approach. Listen, it's highly contagious. You may or may not get it with a mask. We recommend a mask if you don't want to wear a mask. But let's focus on the people most vulnerable. It's people that have underlying medical conditions and who are elderly. Listen. But we're not going to shut down the economy. There was a happy medium there, is my point, and it was never articulated, and it became so political that's where we are now.
Okay, but what happened?
Am I right?
Yes, but let me go further. Okay, so this was a unique situation. All right, this Chinese virus, and what happened was. It came to the country. Nobody knew what they were doing. We had these public health officials.
We could have figured it out, Frank. We're smart people.
Yeah, and we did figure it out pretty darn quick, okay? We had public health officials like Fauci and Briggs Fauci's not even a virologist.
Doesn't matter. I'm not a virologist too, but I figured it out myself.
No, exactly. Common sense. But you know what now they're saying? And here's an article right here.
Read it. Go for it.
No, I don't want to read it. I'm just going to tell you what it says. Coronavirus may travel through the toilet and pipes. The truth is this virus is everywhere. And some of us probably may have been exposed to it or built up antibodies to it in some way years ago because we were exposed to something else or we traveled somewhere or whatever. And the truth of the matter is, it's everywhere. We need to move forward.
Why was it politicized?
Because it was to the benefit to take down Donald Trump and the government. That's why it was politicized, because they could shut down the government, they could ruin the economy.
Why did the local county judge try to shut down everything, including this local mayor?
Oh, you don't think that?
I'm asking.
Well, you think that she's in favor of having the federal government?
I don't think she knows where she is next week.
Well, we agree on that.
My point is, to me.
Well, look what she did with the hurricane. I mean, if anybody watched the weather, they would have. We're all experiencing.
It's very troubling.
We're experiencing hurricanes here.
A lot more than her because she just got here.
We were looking at the.
We've been doing this for 25 years.
Yeah,
you just
man.
showed up.
Yeah, man, I understand. But what I'm saying is, if you just watch the weather, you would know that the hurricane wasn't coming here to the point that
We've
we
been
had
doing this
We had to shut down the business. They shut down the downtown city.
down.
They
Oh
were
my
calling for
God.
evacuations
Are you
of Galveston.
kidding
I
me
mean,
right now?
it's ridiculous.
Come on,
on.
man.
It was sunny on Thursday. I went downtown. It
That's
was
what
more
we need.
empty than Christmas.
For somebody trying to run a business, that's what we need is a mandatory.
They want it,
evacuation
Tony,
of
because if the economy's bad, they feel like
Can
there's
I
a
say,
leg up.
Can I say bullshit on this show?
Yeah, we already said it. I think I said it
yeah.
before. But anyway, be careful about your toilets and pipes. So don't use the toilets. You might get coronavirus.
We need to take.
That's why I go outside.
Line 2, Mike, who wants to talk about COVID response and also voter fraud. Mike, what's up, man?
Okay, on the COVID response, if the president had, first of all, not disbanded the pandemic response team in the National Security Council, that team would have been focused on one thing and one thing only, and the response would have definitely been faster and stronger and more effective. But even with that response team disbanded, if he had listened to the national intelligence and even Pete Navarro, one of his closest aides, and if he was someone that could really make a deal like he claims he could, he would have convinced all our allies, the major countries around the world, to put a ban on China, to put pressure on China to stop flights out of that country, because we put a ban on Chinese flights kind of late, but they were flying all over the world and Europe and everything, and then it was passing on, this was spreading and coming to the U.S. That's one. Number two, he implemented the Defense Production Policy Act a lot sooner and cranked out PPE instead of shipping PPE to China. Number three, he would have taken the German COVID test. Germany had developed the COVID test and was distributing it all throughout the world. And CDC, that Mr. Trump decimated, cut their budgets, cut their staff, came out with a faulty test. So we were months without even effective testing, while the rest of the world was testing and getting it under control. So he could have accepted the German test, but he refused. Number 5 or 6, I forget.
You're at 4. You're at 4, Mike.
Okay, at number 4, he could have not undermined the CDC when it comes to social distancing and mask wearing. I mean, he politicized. Everyone's. You're talking about how Trump's enemies politicized. He came out and said it was a Democratic hoax right from the beginning, trivialized it, minimalized it, and let the thing spread.
Mike, can I ask you a question? I usually don't ask
sir.
questions of callers, but I can tell you're passionate about this. I heard all things.
Died. We could have saved 100,000 lives. I'm passionate. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not. Listen, man. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just asking a question.
I'm not yelling either. I'm just out of control.
What? No, that's fine, man. What? And maybe you just answer the question. What difference would it have made? This is a very contagious, fast-moving virus. All the things you just said, what difference would that have made?
Unique virus.
And very unique. Very unique.
Okay.
And one-of-a-kind virus. What would have it made? I mean, I want to know what you believe in your mind, and I'm giving you a platform. What everything you just said, what difference would it have made had Trump did everything you think he should have done?
It would have saved tens of thousands, possibly 100,000 lives.
What evidence do you have of that?
The evidence is Taiwan. Taiwan had millions. Taiwan, as you know, is a Chinese country,
Yeah,
kind of a renegade.
Okay,
so Taiwan has millions of travelers going back and forth from mainland China, and they did pretty much what I was just describing, and I think they had something like 20 deaths in the whole country.
What Mike? What is it? Mike? Is that your name?
Yeah, Mike.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mike. Yeah. The only thing I have to say to you, the difference between us and Taiwan, and this is where you have a balance of things. Americans are not going to be locked down like Koreans and Taiwanese. Even they're willing to take the Americans will balance freedom against loss of life. and we've done it throughout our history and so what you got is attention, and you're not wrong, my friend, because the truth is, if we had the infection, now I disagree with you with regard to, I'd like you to name me which country locked down travel before Trump did. None of them. He took heat. Okay, from all over the world. He was the first.
He was accused, Mike.
He was
accused of being.
the first.
No, I understand. He was accused of being racist for
okay, so
banning Chinese travel. I agree.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But as president of the United States, he could have stepped into that. I don't know if he could have, but a president of the United States could step into that leadership role and rally all the major countries in the world and put that pressure to stop that. And I understand.
Mike, can I interrupt you?
What about blaming China for seeding us? How about that? That's what I say. Well,
Mike,
that's what I say. Blame the China.
But I'm trying to give away steaks. Mike, are you a steak lover?
I'm sorry, am I what?
Do you eat meat?
I do.
All right, you're going to get some steaks, my friend. That was it.
Thanks, Mike.
I'm going to yell at Frank when you hang up, but I appreciate you. Leave your email and your address with Steve, our producer, but we're going to send you a box of steaks from dukesbutchershop.com. This is the kind of calls people think we'd only take calls that agree with Frank. Hell, I disagree with Frank most of the time. Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it. We'll be back. 281-558-5738. Mike's getting himself some great steaks. Thanks, dukesbutchershop.com. We'll be back. See, Frank has this thing he wants to show them.
No.
No, you show them.
No, I'm going to do it.
No, you show them.
Oh, we're going to talk about this on the radio.
Oh,
okay?
my goodness.
We're going to talk about this. This is the comic book involving you can buy this at Walmart so your kids can color. They can color this Hot Cup of Joe.
I'm trying.
Hot Cup of Joe. It says a piping hot coloring book with America's sexiest moderate Biden, Joe Biden.
Okay, that's so silly.
No, hold on. It's not silly. Wait, this is what they're doing to our kids.
He gets all mad.
Now look at this. Look at this. They got old Joe here coming out of the shower with a towel on, and you can color him. And then they got him in here with a Speedo and all kinds of other things. This is what we're doing with our kids. America's sexiest moderate. But then if you go to the back of the book, it says more than 35 unique lifelike illustration of Scranton's finest. I don't know. I don't know that Scranton, Pennsylvania agrees with that. And then it says, let Joe win your vote with his warmth, charm, and integrity. Let's see, integrity. Does that mean don't take money from foreign governments through your family? And what about this? Trade empty, dirty politics for a meaningful relationship with Mr. Left of Right. See, on the front they said he was moderate. Now they call him Mr. Left of Right. And then you can take the pages out and hang them around your house after the kids coloring them. And you can look at all these pictures here and color them in. And Joe, I mean, he's does everything. He's a construction worker with his shirt off. He's a race car driver. He's a businessman. He paints Obama. He's painting Obama's picture because worshiping Obama. He's on a jet ski, old Joe. And they got him here baking here. He's a baker too. And maybe he's a candlestick maker. Oh, he plays basketball with no shirt and in his boxer shorts. That's a good one. And that's volleyball. I'm sorry. And then he's like a spaceman, and he's also a yoga man.
Okay.
And he's also a matador. Give me a friggin' break.
All right, we're back. Frank is still just pontificating on Facebook Live. I just stopped my Facebook Live feed because we're going to take a call from line 1. Dan from Missouri City wants to talk about what we could have done better on COVID. Maybe he has a contrary point to what Frank said. Dan,
no, I didn't say anything.
Okay, Frank.
Hi.
Hey,
this is Dan.
Come on, Dan. What's you got?
Yes, I've heard Mike, and I listened intently, and I agree with many things he said, but I disagree on the CDC point. Trump didn't underfund them or reduce funding. and I have a lot of issues with the Birx and Fauci. I think Fauci's flip-flopped more than a fish on land over the months. And hydroxychloroquine, that's really on the medical community. They really did a bad thing by preventing that use, which I think you'll find other third world countries did use it. It was over the counter. And whatever countries have malaria.
Yeah, exactly. What was the talker's name?
Dan. It's on the screen.
Yeah, but I don't have a screen.
Okay.
The Dan. One other thing, they've come out with this not new. It's been around forever. There's another drug that was just come out called Invectin or something.
Invectin, exactly. We've only heard about it for 2 weeks, maybe.
And
right?
Yes, sir. And it's a very cheap pill, and it's had amazing results with regard to being a therapeutic and basically over a period of a week or so eradicating the coronavirus. These kind of things. But Dan, I think you'll probably agree with it. This is where it becomes the merging of politics and also big pharma, because they would rather have you buy Remdesivir at $3,200 a pill or $3,100 a pill or a dose than buy a hydroxy that they use in India very effectively, or this new Invectin, which is like 5 cents a pill or something like that, where basically people can get this stuff and they're taking it they're taking that Invectin actually among the first responders in other countries, and it's preventing them from getting sick. And so this is the sadness of these things. And when Trump came out in favor of hydroxy, you would have thought that's why they politicized that. But anyway, I agree with you on many of these points.
Dan,
but I didn't mean to.
No, you did. No,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You didn't interrupt.
It's a shame.
Thanks for the call, Dan. Awesome call,
yeah.
man. And you were right. You're right. Awesome call. Thanks for calling from Missouri City. Appreciate it. I'm gonna change gears for a minute, because we've been talking about Trump, and Frank he's got all kinds of pieces of paper laid out in front of him. He thinks I'm gonna tee off on this, TB. No, I'm gonna tee off. No, you're not. Guess what?
No, this is Texas A&M.
I don't care. I don't want to talk about Texas A&M right now. I want to talk about something different.
Well, this is important.
Everything's important. We talk about. We don't talk about things that are not important.
You don't want to talk about an A&M professor?
I don't want to talk about any of that.
Who worked for NASA as a Chinese agent? You don't want to talk about that?
No, not right now.
Why not?
But I do want to talk about something else. And we had this discussion earlier. There's only one captain driving this ship, and that captain is Captain Tony Busby, United States Marine Corps.
I thought it was Captain Quigg.
Yeah, no, it's Don Quixote. It's Don Quixote.
I'm Don Quixote.
No, but I do want to say this.
I'm the man of La Mancha.
We just had another hurricane scare. We had a Category 4 hurricane that crushed.
No, we didn't. They had it in Louisiana.
That's my point. But it could have very easily, like the last big one we had, could have rolled our way. It's based. I mean, it's like.
Yeah, but you can watch the weather.
My point, Frank. Why are you being like? Why don't you listen for a minute and quit acting like that?
Because it offends me the way we do things.
I don't care. I'm not talking. You're interrupting the point.
Sorry.
I'm trying to make.
Sorry.
I'm trying to make a point.
Yeah, no, I understand.
We had Harvey. We had Harvey.
We had Rita. We had Harvey.
And it shut down on us, and it sat there and dropped water on us for many, many different days.
I know. I caught mahi-mahi at the end of my street.
And there was this big uproar. Oh, we're going to fix the flooding on West End. We're going to fix the flooding on Buffalo Bayou. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Have you seen any comprehensive plan?
No, man. The streets are all ripped up. We're like a third world country. Instead, the people running the city are more worried about telling us to stay in the house, evacuate the city, hide under your desk.
$1.2 billion has already, that came right out of our pocket, was allocated to Houston to fix the people that were crushed in Harvey. The same people hunkered down for the last storm. And I was sitting there thinking about it in my house. And of course, I'm blessed. I wasn't really worried about, even if it put a direct hit on Houston, it wasn't going to impact my life more than, I could survive it. But I was thinking about No, I'm just saying. I mean, honest. I mean, I'm not going to
Of
pretend
course,
like.
yes.
My point is, I mean, I'm trying to make a point here. The point is,
you're not the kind of person that's going to be impacted by that, but the majority of population.
Exactly. But if I were the mayor, that'd be exactly not. I wouldn't be worried. I'd be worried about the people that got crushed last time.
I agree,
and the people crushed this next time.
And you would.
And so I was thinking about, where is the comprehensive plan we talked about?
We had no comprehensive plan. It's grammar school.
We should have had a list of intersections that should be closed. We should have had a city. One of the things I advocated for was an application on your phone that would show you where you could drive in the city, what is flooded, what's not flooded, places that we know flood over and over, to close down and to pump, cleaning drains, and there's so many places across the city. Well, none of this has been done. We talked about this over and over and over during the election. Dealing with areas that we know are going to flood, dealing with Buffalo Bayou, dealing with West Houston, dealing with the Barkers and Addicts reservoirs. Nothing has been done. And here we are again. And one of my buddies from Florida said, he texted me like, TB, are y'all getting ready? Do you think you're going to get a hit? And I go, no, I think it's going to miss us. It's going to go east. It's going to hit Louisiana. It's going to hit. I mean, I didn't think it was going to hit Lake Charles. I thought it was going to be even further east. And he's like, well, you got to November, so hang in there. And there's two other storms right now developing in the Atlantic, developing. And where's the outrage? Where are the people saying, why haven't where's all those monies that came out of our pocket? Why are they not being used to rebuild? Why have we not have a comprehensive plan?
Because
where is it?
Because they
vote. And instead, you know what we're arguing about is the same bullshit that you and I have spent the last hour and 41 minutes arguing about, which is the convention, this, that, and the stuff that really impacts our people, that impacts our neighbors and impacts the people that live across the city of Houston. We don't say it. Maybe it's not sexy. We don't spend a minute, and you got all that stuff in front of you. And I'm not criticizing you, Frank. I love you. You have all that stuff in front of you, and not one of the things in front of you has anything to do with, what about the condition of our streets? What about the tax dollars? What about the tax dollars that were spent for hurricane prevention, flood prevention, helping people that were crushed in the last hurricane? Not once do we talk about it, and we're talking about some very specific things that could be done. What we could call a Houston app, what I would call a Houston app, that you could have an app on your phone and you know where you can drive across the city of Houston of places so you don't get your car flooded out, so you can still go to work because a lot of businesses, even when it's flooding, require you to go to work. Or how about places across the city of Houston that we know, these underpasses and so forth that flood, you could have pre-staged pumps to pump those places out so you don't have people trying to go through places that are going to flood. How about cleaning out? We know where the drainage issues are across the city of Houston, of drains that have never been cleaned out since they were created, not been done. We know if you have somebody smart that says, okay, here's the map, here's what we're gonna do. There's just so many things. We know Buffalo Bayou is the primary carrier of water out of the city of Houston when it floods and down to the ship channel and all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Nothing, I don't want to say nothing, but I'm going to say it, nothing has really been done for that. We know the Addicts and Barkers reservoirs, and these are long-term Corps of Engineer projects, but there are small things that could have been done to make those reservoirs more able to suck up a lot of this water. And all we're doing is sitting around arguing about Donald Trump and why Donald Trump's bad or he's good, and wearing our caps and people throwing water on people and taking people's caps off and talking about how, incompetent Joe Biden is while Rome burns. No. How pissed are you about that? I'm pissed.
I disagree with you.
I'm pissed about it.
I agree with what's going on in Houston. I agree with everything.
Pissed about it.
Well, I'm talking.
I want you to know. We'll come back. I'm sorry, guys. I went on a little rant, but
good.
There's a lot of local stuff going on here that we ignore because they want us to ignore it. They want us to ignore it. 281-558-5738. One of my favorite songs. We'll be back.
Up and at 'em bright and early, Small business in my suit. Yeah, I'm dressed up for.
I want to talk about our city.
That's fine, but you
we
may
live.
have a city in a country that no longer exists.
It's a
And
place where
that's
we
why
live.
people are talking about the other issues. Because the one thing
Because you've conceded the city, and I'm not conceding
I'm
the
not
city.
conceding the city, but I'll deal with the
I'm
ripped
not
up
conceding the city.
road, but I'm not going to deal with the loss of my freedom. And that's the difference, Tony. That's
Lost
why
your
we're
freedom is
talking-
you can't even drive down the street.
Well, I can, because I got a four-wheel drive vehicle, so I can drive down the street. Okay, but I agree with you
It's a
that
full-on lie.
I agree with
People are
you
being
that
lied
the
to.
local politicians should be dealing with that rather than them transcending the local issues and talking about spending $27 million in order to deal with this election because they want to have mail-in ballots. Okay, they're spending $27 million of the city of Houston's money, and they're gonna stop this foolishness by the city of Houston trying to go rogue on.
I'm leaving.
That's not
Daisy,
the
put it
answer.
on me. I'm leaving. I've been talking to Francis. We've been talking about where we can go. Where we can go to. I don't know where it is yet. I'm going to have to declare my own country in Northeast Texas.
Well, I thought you already did.
Where are we going?
The point, what I'm trying to say is this is the reason our local
You're
politicians...
so caught up in all that national bullshit.
No.
Tony, I'm not caught up in the national...
You are. That's all you're
I'm
caught
not.
up.
I'm just saying if you lose the country, you don't even get to worry about the streets.
If you lose the streets, you don't worry about the country.
Oh, sure, man. We can drive on dirt roads, but we're still free. The point is...
Ben Franklin says, take care of your pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves.
Yeah, well, no, that's a different concept. But what I'm trying to say is these local issues need to be taken care of. And that's why these idiots that are out there telling us to do this and that, wear masks, leave the city, go hide, don't look at the weather reports basically that indicate the hurricane's coming to Houston, but everybody go run away. Okay? That's the idiocy in the leadership. Okay? We need local officials to do what you're talking about, taking care of these local problems. But that doesn't mean we don't have to be concerned about the unrest, because we take our eye off that ball, there ain't no more ball to play with. Next time I come on this show, I'm gonna bring a big mirror so he can keep looking at it. I'm gonna hold up a mirror for it.
We're back from the break. I'm sorry I went on a little rant, but I was just trying to fight Frank and his nationalism. I'm thinking about localism.
I think localism's important, but it needs to be taken care of. That's why I say the local politicians need to be worried about that and not become simply surrogates for the national issues, which is what they are.
What has happened in politics all across the country is national politics has subsumed all local politics. Yeah, Tip O'Neill used to say, all politics is local. Remember he used to say that?
Yep.
Not anymore.
But that's
All politics are national
That's
now.
because we didn't tend to our field, okay? We didn't elect people, and I don't care whether they're Democrats or Republicans, okay? I really don't care about party labels, but we didn't elect people because on the local level, Tony, what you're really talking about is you want to elect people who can manage. Okay.
People that have a concern for the people
But it's
that
not
live
just
here.
a concern. This isn't like just a concern. This is a person who could who can manage a business, who can manage a city, who can manage things and get things done. Things that matter to the people locally. That's what our local politicians should be. They should not be nationalizing our concerns, as you say, and distracting us from their incompetence to address the local issues.
Okay, here's my challenge. Lay aside your favorite politician now. or your favorite,
he's not my favorite politician.
whatever. Just lay aside that.
He's the
Who do you know that is in public office right now? No, just nationally, that you like, who could actually run a city and do the things I just described. And I just described one sliver of what needs to be done with flood mitigation and dealing with storms that we know are out there in the Gulf and the Atlantic that are coming our way. Name one that's not just a political hack, because that's what most of them are. They're political hacks, and that's why I have no interest in politics anymore. I have no interest in it. Tell me one. Name one that is somebody that knows how to get things done.
I don't know a lot of.
Name one.
I don't know a lot of local politicians.
I didn't ask about local. Just name me a national politician that could run Houston in the right way.
Maybe DeSantis.
DeSantis.
Governor of Florida.
Okay, well, okay, he's running a state. I mean, give me somebody that's well known, who's this big hyper partisan person that's always running his mouth or running her mouth, that could actually run a city. Give me one.
I don't know. Who was our former county judge?
He's not our county judge anymore. I'm talking about.
He did a pretty good job.
No, I think people say that Ed Emmett did a good job.
Because he was a business guy, he knew how to run things.
But
Okay,
you're not.
He made the trains run on
Okay,
time.
I don't want to be.
And that's not partisan.
No, I want Ted Cruz. Can he run the city of Houston?
No, I don't think Ted Cruz is a manager. I think he's more of a.
Okay, that's the problem with our politics. Give me
Donald Trump could run the city.
No, I told you excluding him because he's run business.
Yeah.
Give me somebody else.
No. The problem is the politicians are not businessmen.
That's my point. Give me somebody else.
I would say Tony Busby.
Okay, I ain't running for crap. What else? Who else?
Know them.
Give me somebody else.
I don't know any.
That's the problem. That's the problem that I've been talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You got all these freaking idiots who are running their sucks, talking this, talking that, this and that, oh, blah, 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 talking about how many angels could dance on the head of a pin. But tell me about flood mitigation. Tell me about how to deal with street maintenance. Tell me how to do something that means something to people that live in this city every single day. I am tired of hearing about this baloney, and I'm ready to hear about solutions for our city. We just had a hurricane that could have very easily come and went right into the city of Houston.
Yeah,
and
we might get the next one. So you tell me somebody.
There ain't anybody. That's the problem.
I just told you that.
That's our politics, and that's why we can all argue about.
You know why? Because everybody who can do that is working in private business.
Right.
That's why.
That's okay. And until we figure that out, and until we say, that changes, then we're screwed.
Idea.
We're screwed.
I got a special idea because you were in politics for a while.
I'm not in politics.
No, I know you're not. But what if there was actually like some kind of a, if you were, let's say you were a politician and you're the mayor, okay, but you're not actually a business manager or anything like that. They should appoint a blue ribbon panel of actual managers that manage corporations, guys from the major companies maybe, who know how to fix refineries, who know how to run a railroad, so to speak, who know how to keep a budget, and have them manage the actual issues like that, or at least put in place programs and
you are singing to the choir. I mean, you're preaching to the choir. I've always said
that
city of Houston. The city of Houston. I've always said.
I didn't say just guys. I mean, there are plenty
of
women. There are plenty of women who could be on this panel. That's not the point. But they need to have business experience so they could run our city in an efficient manner.
Has always needed a city manager.
But it runs better than most of the other cities only because of the Texans who live here.
There's no doubt.
Okay?
Because Texans are can-do people. That's why.
You know what? After every hurricane, even in our neighborhood, okay, I saw people out the very next day with I'm talking about older folks, okay? I'm getting that way myself. No, 70-something years old, 75 years old, they're out there picking up everything the city's cleaned up in 2 or 3 days, and we get on with business. That's what disgusts me about the current leadership, because they don't want us to get on with business. It's like they want us to be like a third world country.
That's my point.
And the people from the third world came here because we're not a third world country.
You're preaching to the choir, my friend. You're preaching to the choir.
These people came here because they wanted something better.
You're making my point.
And I agree with you.
And we deserve better leadership than what we have.
And we deserve to. Why don't we use the resources we have? We have the most brilliant guys who can run. Heck, man, we got the guys. Even though
I think we don't have engineers in the city of Houston that know how to deal with flooding.
Over my career, I've represented like Brown and Root and KB.
How many of those have been engaged by the mayor?
None. But the point is, I've represented them and I've sued them, okay, over my career, okay, different times, not at the same time, but over my career, okay. And the point is, those guys
They could. I mean, the guys from Halliburton.
We need to focus
The guys
more.
from Schlumberger.
Frankie, here's
the
what I'm
guys
suggesting.
from even BP,
A
which
lot
both
of the people
us have sued.
a lot
All
of the
of
people,
them, they could run the city better, and
a
they
lot
would
of the
tell us
people-
what to do. And why can't we use them?
That's my point. A lot of people that listen to this show we talk a lot about national issues. They every now and then they say, Tony, why don't you and Frank? They actually don't mention you because they don't know who you are, but a lot of times they say, Tony, why don't you talk about local issues? And I was like, well, because Frank takes me off on these.
It's only because
crazy
we're in an election year.
I'm not in an election year. I ain't running for anything.
Yeah, but we have a real big.
It's a big election. But I think people care.
After that, we can talk about.
Well, we're going to keep talking about local issues because the things that impact people locally.
Assuming we have a show after that.
Well, what are they going to kick us off the air?
I don't know. They might get a hook and pull.
I guarantee.
They're already trying to get rid of me.
Yeah. There's a hashtag get rid of Frank already. It's called hashtag dump Frank. But there also is a hashtag like keep Tony. Hashtag keep Tony. And I've been.
I don't even know what a hashtag is.
Well, you know what it is.
No, I don't.
It means it's a hook. Get you out.
I know what a hook is.
Yeah, that's you.
You know, when they put the hook on the stage and
Yeah.
pull the guy off.
There's somebody like stage left right now pulling you out. Anyway, the point is, we need to be talking more about local issues, and I want you callers, and I know there's a bunch of you, and I'm sorry we didn't get to all of you. We're not going to get you today because we only have a couple of minutes left. But we want to talk more about local issues. But now, obviously, we're in an election season, and Frank, he's entrenched. Frank, who you voting for?
Well, I'm voting for the only leader that's running.
Who is that?
The guy whose hat I have on.
Okay, who is that?
Donald Trump.
Okay, and what about Biden?
Who you voting for?
Why aren't you voting for Biden?
Because I think he's beyond his years.
That's the reason.
I think he's a Trojan horse.
Okay, what do you think about Kamala Harris?
I think she's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Why you say? Why you say it's okay? There's people groaning in the side, but go ahead.
Was that a good way?
I don't know if that's a good groan or a bad groan. Go ahead.
Because I mean, if you look at what she stands for.
What does she stand for?
Nothing. That's the point. She didn't stand for anything. And it's people like that, backed up by AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Tlaib, who are going to be running this country along with
the squad.
The squad, and along with the other people who are advocate. There's an advocation for socialism in this country.
I will say that,
and I don't want it. And I feel sorry for Uncle Joe.
The election
is, despite his comic book, the sexiest moderate.
The election is clearly. To Trump's credit, I don't know if this is like...
some years ago I might have voted for Biden.
Fortuity or whether it is by design, but the election is clearly shaping up to be chaos versus order.
Yeah, and what about those people, Tony? I'm telling you...
It's clearly shaping up.
No, but I'm telling you those
people... And if that happens, that's Trump's
I'm telling you about those real people, the people in the prison, the people in the lobster bin, all those people we talked about. Those people were helped over the last. And this guy had to fight off an impeachment. He had all the rest of this stuff and still did things for the country and for those people. I mean, what do you want from the guy? I mean, I know you might not like his temperament, just like a lot of people might not like mine.
Or mine. But I've had my moments. We know I've had my moments.
But listen to the words and listen to the action more than the words.
I would say if I were to handicap it now, I think Trump's going to win the election.
I don't know whether he's going to win or not.
I think he's going to win the election.
But I don't know whether he's going to win or not.
No, the way it's shaped up, up right now, and the things that are going on in the country right now, I think it's Trump. And I wouldn't have said this 2 weeks ago.
But
I think it's Trump's election to lose.
Look at the difference in the way the Democratic and Republican. And I watched some of the Democratic.
And I watched it. And I'm a moderate guy, and I've been watching it.
But
and
look
it's
at
shaping
the
up.
difference in the way it was presented.
Hey, listen, we got music coming. All right, guys. Tony Busby talking with Tony, with Frank Spagnoletti.
Celebrate the country. Don't degrade the country.
We will be back next week talking with Tony. Another great show. 281-558-5738.
Thank you, Tony.
And we'll be back. Frank, thank you. We'll talk to you later. Talking with Tony.